Good morning to you, Sam. Thank you for being with us.
I hope everybody's doing good. I hope you had a great week and a lovely weekend.
Oh, yes.
We had a
We got,
spectacular weekend.
well, we yesterday got some much needed scattered showers.
Oh,
And then we've had just a few little sprinkles, with the sunshine and excuse me, a little cloud that where else would I be? Oh, thank you, sweetheart.
oh,
Um, so yeah, we've had a little bit, but it's been humid, which is okay, you know.
oh. Well, I had an ice storm and then I had sleet and snow mixed.
What?
And wow, and it is 29 degrees Fahrenheit right now. Yeah.
Well, it's 77 here.
But the snow didn't.
Hello, Mary. How are you, sweetie?
Hey, Mary.
And DK Jen. Hello, sweetheart.
Hey, Jen. It was a great day. There's a group of us that meet up together and we traded names for Christmas. And
Yes.
we met yesterday and exchanged our Christmas gifts and had a really good time.
Yes, we did. Hello, Sherry K. Are you home yet?
Hi, Sherry. There goes my Siri.
Mm. Yes, and I just want everybody to know that Daniel's Secret Santa got him a box of bricks.
Yes.
Literally
Yes,
a box of bricks. Literally, it was a box of bricks.
Well, I told you were getting a box of bricks and you didn't believe me.
Hello there, Darcia. How are you doing this afternoon? Thank you for the squirrel raid. I'm going to sneeze.
Oh, bless you ahead of time. It was really funny. He did get a box of bricks. It was very funny.
Mm-hmm.
I can build them, though.
Hello, Gary. How are you, sweetheart?
It was wonderful. We had a great time.
Yeah.
Yes,
we
did.
Always do.
Oh yes, it was wonderful fellowship. I really must say that. The fellowship was fantastic.
Hello there, Michael. How are you doing, sweetheart?
Hey, Michael.
Hey.
We had
Michael, you can call me sweetie if you like to.
I'm not going to tell you what I call him.
That just depends.
It depends on the day.
Yeah. Right now we're calling him a bottomless pit in which he just keeps shoving sugar down. Oh,
does he ever?
Hello, Nippy.
Hello.
He loves sweeties. Of course.
Oh, yes, he does.
In the UK, that's what they call candy, sweeties.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
I guess I just hadn't paid that much attention.
Sweet eats. Yeah.
Sweet eats. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly how Michael wrote it. Sweeties.
Mm-hmm.
Sweeties.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be darned.
Yep. I get a kick out of that. I have some candy right here. Because, I am froggy and I like to get the sensation.
Oh.
Oh,
look at that sweet shop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. He has to show he's got more than me.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have these too.
Oh, yeah. He's got much more than I do. Hey, Lana.
Yeah. Hello, Lana, sweetie. How are you doing this afternoon?
Hey, Lana.
He's got a lot more.
Oh, that's okay, DK Jan.
Oh, it's no worries.
Squirrel raid. Yes.
No, I guess I should have said squirrel raid. I was over at Greenie D's too.
Excuse me.
I was over there lurking away, enjoying myself. Did y'all see her chicken? It was fantastic.
Oh, I missed it. I'll have to go back and catch the live. Wayne and I had just come in from a late lunch. And so I was trying to get stuff together. Plus, we had run by and picked up our Walmart order. So I was trying to put that away. Froggy calls and I'm like, I'm coming.
She made a chicken and she was asking if she should make the comb bigger because it's a really small comb on the chicken. I think she should make it a little longer, but otherwise it's perfect. The chicken's great.
Right.
She did a beautiful.
Did she crochet it or knit it?
She crocheted it.
She did.
Well, I'm glad
Oh,
you're home from church. I
yes,
hope
ma'am. Relaxing with you guys. That's so sweet.
I hope it was a
Glad to
wonderful service.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
hear.
yes. My church canceled the morning service because the weather was so bad and the roads were slick.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, I hope it was a good service.
Mm-hmm.
I trust it was.
Yeah. Wayne
Awesome.
was asking me today. He was like, so is it starting to feel like Christmas yet? And I said, nope. Nope.
It
I just
is
don't
for
feel
me.
like people here in Florida. Well, I mean, I've said it before. It might be a little more decorated in, like, say, Orlando or Tampa or
Oh,
something,
yeah.
but
Decorations aren't up.
yeah, decorations aren't up.
I don't have any up in my house, but they're up
Right,
on houses. The houses out here in the neighborhood and stuff,
right.
they're all decorated.
Oh
So
man.
that's great. Hi, Sharon.
Hello, Sharon. Sharon, how are you doing? Michael said he
Hello.
woke up a bit ago, changing his sleep schedule for his 12-hour Christmas live. I know. I was telling
That's
Wayne about that.
wonderful.
Don't
That's
know that I'll
wonderful.
be up the whole 12 hours with you, but I bet we'll be there to ring in Christmas Day.
That'll be nice.
Yes.
Now of course I am wearing the best gift ever, just have to say. And it's even on my hair bows. So
Uh,
that's super cool. I love these hair bows. They're amazing. Oh
well,
my.
my shirt says, true story.
True story.
Mm-hmm.
We love
Yes,
it.
it is. It's a true story.
We love it. We love it.
Yep. 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 Yep.
I'm being a Grinch this year.
You're being.
I had to do that, I'm all about dressing in the
Oh, yeah.
Christmas clothes.
Mm-hmm. I got a shirt for every day of December.
I do.
Yep.
I do.
Yep.
Even the pajamas too.
Oh, well, I don't have the pajamas, but I do have the t-shirt.
I do. I'm
Darcy
super,
is running from Christmas Eve all the way until Christmas Day.
Yes,
which is
7
cool.
in the evening to 7 a.m. in the morning of Christmas Day. So that's Central Standard Time, which means it'll start Eastern for us, 8 o'clock.
And I
8
will be
p.m.
on Christmas Day. On Froggy One and Knitting, so you'll be able to join me on Christmas Day if you'd like. And we'll
Yay!
just be on chit chatting. Nothing, nothing
Right.
spectacular special. But that'll be fun.
Yeah, what they said.
I like that. That's awesome.
Well, I had
Mike.
to think about it a minute, Michael. I mean, I forget sometimes. I mean, honestly, I do forget that I'm not in Texas. And so sometimes I still get my time, messed up. I'll give out a time that's Texas time. It's like, oh, wait. I got to fix that.
That we always got to remember to give time zones because not everybody's
No,
where we are.
no.
I do forget that a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
I usually remember because of Dan.
Right.
That's usually why I remember because otherwise I just totally forget and I'm oblivious that they're like not in my time zone.
No, I'm in the future.
Mm-hmm.
You are in the future.
Yeah. So is Sam. She's already saying good morning.
Exactly.
And you know what, Michael? That is really wonderful. It truly is. And I'm ashamed to say that, like, I didn't think of that. So I'm just so glad that you did.
That's
really
why.
am.
That's why I go live on the holidays,
Mm-hmm.
so that they don't have to be alone.
Yeah.
I've always done that.
He's doing it from Christmas Eve evening
Which
all
is
the way to the morning the next day. And
I don't have that kind of stamina.
Oh.
I'm
Lana says, but I need you during the Christmas day too. So that's awesome.
Well, I'll be on during Christmas Day, so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the stamina to do it anymore, but I used to have the stamina to do it.
Oh,
I used to do 12-hour lives all the time.
Oh, good, Deirdre.
Man, you guys are crazy.
Well, I will go live when I wake up on Christmas Day. I don't know if that'll be 8 or 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So
that's
whenever I wake
awesome,
up.
Michael. Says he's going to have special guests to help keep the stamina going.
Nice, Michael. That's
Nice.
wonderful.
I always stay up until midnight Well, 11:59 on Christmas Eve, and I already have something typed in my text messages to my youngest daughter because she's a Christmas baby. And as soon as I see my little countdown, like the next 5 seconds, I will hit it. And I do have to say that I'm about 95% number one of being the first one to tell my baby girl happy birthday on Christmas Day. Her middle sister has beat me a few times, but normally it's her mama that's the first one. And she will wait up to hear or to see the text messages from everybody.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're asking if you stay up for Santa.
Of course. Don't you?
I don't.
I want to come this year.
I used to stay up for Santa when I had kids, but I don't stay up for Santa no more. I go to bed. Hi, Gloria.
Hello, Gloria, sweetheart. How are you doing?
Hey, Gloria.
Well, thank you for the squirrel raid. We appreciate that.
Well, we are going to, if I can do it, I want to go ahead and thank. Oh, I can't find it now. I had it. There we go. I want to thank all the raiders. I couldn't find it at first.
Oh, yeah. We're so used to the other one.
I have the other one too, but
yeah.
So I wanted to thank all you guys for coming over and raiding us. We truly appreciate that.
And I want to go ahead and say thank you to any of you that may be lurking. I know this close to Christmas, you've got a lot of things going on, but if you just have us on running in the background, we'll keep you up with what's going on in the chat and the presentation that we have for y'all today. So just keep us tuned in. The only thing I ask of all of you is to remember to hit that thumbs up, not only for my channel, but for Twisted Fiber Friends as well.
Yep, lets us know that you like
That's
our
right.
content. Yes.
That's right.
Don't forget that our Facebook link is at the top of the chat.
Which you're going to want to use here in just a little bit. And I'll tell you why when we get closer to the end of the presentation today. And speaking of the presentation, as you notice, the title says A Stitch in Time. And so what I wanted to present to y'all today is that there's about 25 to 30 stitches that supposedly every seasoned crocheter should know without having to look up a tutorial.
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through, hopefully get through all of them. Now, if we don't, we'll just continue it next week, depending on what you do in the Facebook group, which, like I said, we'll tell you here in a little bit. Hello, Martha. Thank you for joining us. You're here just in time. So Froggy put the list of stitches together for me, and we are going to start with them.
So I hope you guys enjoy this. Hey, Connie.
Hello, my Connie. How are you doing, sweetie?
So this is crochet stitches. It's about 30 stitches every crocheter should know.
As I said, without having to look up a tutorial.
And here we go.
We're going to talk about the basic ones first. Now, folks, even if you're a beginning crocheter, hopefully you have got down what's called the basic stitches. Now, there's a little bit of debate as to whether we should consider a chain or a slip stitch as a basic stitch, but I do, simply because we do use them whenever we're creating a pattern. I mean, a chain gets counted, a slip stitch gets counted. So to me, these are part of our basic stitches. And of course, a chain is basic, and then you can't do a slip stitch without having a chain. And then depending on the number of loops on your hook before you start working it, determines whether it's the single crochet, the half double crochet, the double, and the triple. Lana says she knows all of these 6, so that's great.
All right.
Next, and what you see from all of these other stitches is that honestly, if you know how to do your basic stitches, then you can do any of these others. Yes, the main ones you use, because all our other stitches are built upon a combination of these stitches.
Yes. Everything else that I'm going to show you is built upon the basic stitches. So I'm glad you know these.
That's
All
right.
right.
Garcia, she does. She knows them too.
So next we have intermediate to advanced stitches. And we have the half double crochet slip stitch, the greeny
Now,
ripple stitch. I'm going to let her explain each one
okay.
momentarily. The blanket stitch, the iris stitch, the mini bean or Elizabeth stitch, the griddle crochet stitch, the waffle crochet stitch, and the crocodile stitch.
The
You may
first
or may not know.
let's see, Gloria says the first 5 don't do much with the treble. You know, the treble crochet stitch is not my favorite. I will do a extended double crochet to get away from doing the treble crochet. But the treble crochet does have a purpose. I mean, especially when you're doing beautiful shells, which we can talk about later. But yeah. Okay, so a half double crochet slip stitch. Now, everyone knows how to do the half double crochet. So instead of when you're just going to make your loop like you would for a half double crochet and loop one more time and pull it through, treble or triple. Well, my grandma always called it the treble, but it is the triple. See, I stumbled there for a little bit. The triple crochet, but I call it the treble, so I don't mean to confuse y'all. Excuse me. The granny stitch ripple. Now, hopefully you know that whenever you make a granny stitch, that's just 3 double crochets, excuse me, in the same stitch. The ripple is the design that you can make. Now, there's many different ways that you can make a ripple. You can use single crochets and chains. You can do double crochets. You can do a fillet, which is just a double or a single or a half with a chain 1 in between. So the granny ripple stitch is really, I would have just called that the granny stitch, but the ripple and the granny have both become extremely popular here in the last, I'm going to say, year and a half, maybe 2 years. So maybe it's just a new stitch that they created. I don't know. I have not tried that stitch yet, but I do know how to do a ripple pattern and I do know how to do the granny. So it doesn't really take much for me to know what to do with that. Let's see. The next one that we have there is the blanket stitch. Now, all this entails is using a single crochet and a double crochet. And the pattern for the blanket stitch is just a single and 2 doubles in the same stitch. And then you'll skip 2 and you repeat it again. And the nice thing about this is that once you get the first row of this stitch down and you turn, you don't even have to count anymore because you'll be doing this blanket stitch from then on out in each single crochet. So it really is a very quick and easy stitch. It does make a nice, beautiful, dense fabric. And of course, it is great for using in blankets, but I've used it a lot in scarves and, of course, in baby sweaters. Like I said, it is a quick stitch and it works well with solid colors. It works well with stripes. It works well with variegated. It's just a really nice stitch that works well with all of our different yarn color combinations, I guess you could say. There's our Granny D. Hey, sweetheart, you got to take care of your tummy. Otherwise,
Hey.
you just pass away. We don't want that. We want you to be up and ready to squirt with us.
Hey, Granny D, this is for you.
You're exactly right, Darcia, but I really have seen a surgence of it a lot in blankets and in ponchos. here the last couple of years. Like I said, it's not a stitch that really I have used or worked with, but like I said, if you know how to do the ripple pattern and can incorporate the granny stitch, then I think that pretty well says how the pattern would work. All right, now some of the floral stitches that I love, and the iris stitch is one of them. It's basically, folks, if you know how to do a double crochet V stitch, then the iris stitch is 2 double crochets, chain 1 or chain 2, depending on the pattern writer, and then 2 double crochets all in the same stitch. And that's all it is. And then once again, you get your first row of those stitches built. Once you start on your second row and you start how the pattern wants you to start and end your row, then in between, it's just working right in those chain 1 or chain 2 spaces, doing the double crochet, chain 1, chain 2, double crochet in the same stitch. So again, we're using part of our basic stitches, double crochets and chains, to build a really pretty floral stitch. Now, I really do like the iris stitch in a solid color or a not a highly patterned yarn. Ombre works really well. I think it stands out better in your medium to light colored, solid color pattern yarns. I have not used it really that much in anything that's highly variegated, but that's just me. Some of the rest of you might like it in a different yarn style, but not me so much. And then the next one, the mini bean or the Elizabeth stitch. I always call it the Elizabeth stitch. Excuse me. Excuse me again. I got to take a drink.
Hey, Granny D.
That's right, Martha. You know, a lot of times when people write patterns, they don't necessarily tell you what the name of the stitch that you're working with. And I think it's important that we do that as content creators. I mean, as far as pattern writers are concerned, that's why a lot of times in my patterns, in the stitch description, I will tell you that you're going to be using slip stitch, chain, single crochet, double crochet, and then I will tell you you're also going to be using the iris stitch. And then I'll describe how it is that that iris stitch is going to be built. And I'll tell you why I do that. And that's because whenever I get down into the body of the pattern itself and I start writing it, I don't want to have to write out every single time that you're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and then whatever else next you're going to do. I can just say you're going to do this, the iris stitch per description in the per your instructions in the stitch description, and then I can just go on. But that's me. That's the writing style that I have developed. But like I said, I think it's important for us to say if the stitch has a name. Now, there's a lot of stitches that folks have come up with. I mean, even now today, there's still stitches that people are putting together and designing. But I think if the stitch has a name, then we ought to use it. But that's my opinion, you know, to each his own, as they say. But that's just how I feel. How do you think about that, Froggy or Daniel?
I think that you want to name the stitch for people. That way they have it in their repertoire.
Yes.
I feel the same. Like if I'm reading a pattern, I always like to know the name of the stitch I'm using, even if I do have to go and research the stitch. But usually, depending on the writer, the designer, they'll write how to do, as Maureen said, they'll write how to do the stitch at the top of the page.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the stitch should always be named.
Yes.
Well, that way, I think when you do run across a pattern that doesn't give you the stitch name, but they're describing for you how to do it, you can say, "Oh, I know what that stitch is. That stitch is," and
Yes.
it just makes you feel good when you can do that. Let's see. We were on the Elizabeth stitch. Is that correct? Yes.
Yes.
The nice thing about the Elizabeth stitch, if you know how to do the little mini bean stitch, you're this is one of those times in which uh, some of our stitches have multiple names. And I don't know why that is. I haven't researched it. I mean, I guess I should. Um, so some of these stitches, you may have grown up or you were learning it from someone as the mini bean or as the Elizabeth stitch. I didn't know for a long time that there was such a thing as the mini bean stitch. I know the bean stitch and I know the Elizabeth stitch. But anyway, the Elizabeth stitch is just created by the number of loops and yarn overs that you are creating before you actually finish off the stitch. And that's just the best way that I can describe it
Yeah.
without showing it to you. Now, the griddle stitch is one of those that has a couple of names. I didn't know this one for a long time. Um, but I just found out recently that the griddle stitch and the lemon peel stitch are built the same. It's
Yeah.
just a single crochet and a double crochet in the same stitch. And then you're going to skip one, chain one, skip one, and then move right on over to the next and repeat it again. Hello, Kristen. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it.
Hey, Kristen.
Hey, Kristen.
Now, how many of you have done or like to use the waffle stitch?
I do when I have a lot of yarn that I need to use.
Yes, it is a yarn eater.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? It does. I love using this for cardigans, for ponchos, for incorporating it in different sections on a um, like on a shawl or a blanket. Yes, Elizabeth, we were just talking about your stitch there, sweetie. That's right, Darcia. That's right. Some stitches are alike, but they just have a different name. Lana says that she has done it. She just made a baby blanket with the waffle stitch.
Oh, that's
Uh,
awesome.
a lot of people don't like doing the waffle stitch because they don't like doing front post double crochets, front post double or back post double. They just don't like doing using the front post technique, whether you're using a double crochet or even a single crochet, half doubles. It's just the technique of working in front or pushing the post of the stitch below you towards the front.
Yeah.
But I think it's a lovely stitch, and I especially like using it, like I said, in blankets and cardigans, sweaters, that kind of stitch.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this next stitch, the crocodile stitch, I don't like it. I don't like the look of it. I don't like to use it. In fact, I avoid patterns that have this stitch in it. Now, Froggy seems to like this stitch, so I'm going to let her talk about it.
Well, it's not that I necessarily like it. I've used it. It reminds me, I think it's good for amigurumi in certain cases. It looks like bird feathers when used in amigurumi. It is a yarn eater, in my opinion.
Yes,
Um, but it's meant to resemble scales.
yes.
Um, but I like to consider it in making like a bird and
Mm-hmm.
using the scales to represent feathers.
Right,
I think it does a really good job in representation of feathers.
right.
Um, but it is a yarn eater. I won't do
Mm-hmm.
it unless I'm making a bird. And no, it's not my favorite stitch to use.
Yeah.
what? Depending upon the size of the bird I'm making, I may make some of this crocodile stitches to represent feathers.
Mm-hmm.
You like doing
Oh,
that?
me too. Me too,
Well, we
Darcia.
on to the
Me
next
too.
list.
She loves doing the front post and back post and cables. Yes. Well, the
All right.
crocodile stitch, I mean, it's not a hard stitch, folks. You're just using chains and double crochets to create that scale looking pattern. But like I said, it is not. It's not even a I like it stitch. It's a I don't want to do it stitch because I just don't like the look of it. But that's me. Again, we all have the stitches that we like and we don't like.
All right. Then you can read the next slide for us.
Huh?
Read that for me.
Read that page.
Okay. Look, I don't know half of these stitches, so I'm just. So number 15, we have the cluster stitch. Now, I ain't got a clue what this is. So I probably do know what it is, but I probably know it by something completely different.
Right.
But yeah, the cluster stitch. Is it just like the granny stitch? I guess. I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
There's just cluster stitch, popcorn stitch, spider stitch, primrose stitch, the bobble stitch, the herringbone half double crochet, the sand, granite, or moss stitch. Yes, the moss stitch has multiple names, and the blueberry stitch.
Right.
So with the cluster stitch, I have seen people multiple different versions of the cluster.
Yes. Yes.
So that could be a lot of different things.
Right. The cluster stitch, you can use single crochets. You can use half doubles. You can use double crochets. You can use the triple crochet. Basically, all it is like the easiest way to describe it is using the double crochet. And it can consist of 3, 4, 5, sometimes even 6. I mean, I've seen a cluster of 6 stitches that you start the stitch like in a double crochet. You're going to yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, pull through the first 2, and you don't finish it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you do a double crochet cluster, depending on the number of double crochets that you put in there, you wait until the last incomplete double crochet is made, and then you pull through all the loops. And most of the time, you're told to chain 1 before you move on. Sometimes they may tell you, we want you to take that cluster and maybe tie it off instead of with a chain, maybe with a single crochet into the next stitch, which then kind of creates like a little bobble.
So there's some people, and I like the way this looks, they border them so it looks a little bit like seashells.
Yes. Yes.
It's a good way to put it.
That's right. Yes. No, the popcorn and the bobble are not the same. And yes, I do believe that the popcorn stitch, if I understand correctly, is our lovely all handmade Connie's favorite stitch to make. Oh my goodness. Yes, it is.
That's a joke. The popcorn stitch is the one where you take your hook out and put it back in the beginning and then the end stitch and pull it through.
Yes.
Yes. They are near the same thing. The two that I confuse are the puff and the bobble, not the popcorn. The popcorn, you take your hook completely out.
Right.
That's how I can tell them apart.
Right.
But
right.
I can understand.
And you're right, DK.
Oh yeah.
Depending on how the pattern writer is going to set up that cluster stitch, you can either tie it off with a chain 1 or with a slip stitch, or as I said, pulling it over to the next stitch with a single crochet, which like who was talking there just a moment ago? Sometimes you can take that cluster stitch and pull it down over into the next stitch with either a slip stitch or a single crochet, and then it will take that cluster and turn it into a bauble. Now, the nice thing about the cluster stitch is you can make your cluster as big as you want, and that will be determined by the number of either singles or half doubles or doubles that you're putting into your cluster before you tie it off in whatever technique it's called for. And yes, the popcorn stitch, you just do, normally you'll do 5 double crochets in one stitch. After the last one, you will pull your hook out. Oh, well, now Connie, she says, my very favorite is the back stitch half double crochet or back loop half double crochet, but the bobble is second. I thought the popcorn stitch, sweetie, was your favorite stitch. Have I been led astray? Can y'all tell by my voice? Oh, we're picking on Connie here. Yes, and then okay, so the popcorn stitch, you're going to let go after, you're going to pull up your loop a little bit, take your hook out, go back to the very first double crochet, reach over and grab that big loop that you pulled up and pull it through the first one and then tighten it down. And that gives you that little sense of a popcorn. I love the popcorn stitch. It just slows you down a little bit in trying to complete your project. But I think popcorn stitches just really, really make a beautiful textured piece of fabric.
Oh, they do. They do.
Yeah.
They
now,
really do.
The spider stitch, sometimes folks will get this one, and I don't know why, and I think it's just because spider and star. Like I said, don't ask me why they'll get the technique for doing these two stitches confused, because they're totally different. But the little spider stitch is almost like the moth stitch, but it's just it consists of a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in the same stitch. And that's it. I love this little stitch. Darcy says. Oh, Connie says she loves all of them except the puff stitch. Oh, I thought it was the popcorn stitch you didn't like. And Darcia says she doesn't like, oh, that's right. She got fed up with the puff when she made your shawl. Oh, gotcha.
Bless you.
Darcia says she doesn't like spiders, but you know what? The spider stitch, oh my goodness, not only is it easy to use, now folks, it is a yarn eater again, but it doesn't matter if you use a solid color, a variegated, a striped, a small stripe. I mean, this little stitch works well with all yarn types. And I mean, whether it's a patterned yarn or not, whether it's cotton, I really love using it whenever I'm making washcloths, little baby blankets or booties. Now, I haven't made booties in a long time, but I love using this stitch because it makes a very dense fabric. And so that's the reason why I love using the spider stitch. And yes, I don't like spiders either, but I do like this little stitch. So number 18 on the list is the primrose stitch. Now, again, the primrose only uses single crochets and chains again. Yes, it is, Mama Gwen. It is a beautiful, well, it's a pretty little stitch. Yes, it is. And it is a beautiful stitch as far as I'm concerned. It is one of my favorites. Again, it just consists of single crochets, this time chain 2 and a single crochet. And you know, it's really funny. You wouldn't think that just by adding an extra chain between the 2 single crochets, like with the spider and the primrose, would make a difference, but it does. I mean, It truly does, because that one extra chain gives a little bit bigger gap there, and it opens up the stitch a little more. And whenever they're piled on top of one another, if you've ever seen a little primrose, I mean, it's a little tiny, to me, a primrose is like the very beginning of the little tea roses, when the little buds are just starting to start. And then I don't, man, it's just hard to describe. But again, it's another little stitch that's great for all yarn colors, all yarn types. And when I'm talking about types, folks, I'm not talking so much about whether it's cotton, acrylic, or alpaca or whatever. I'm talking about how the yarn is colored, whether it's a solid color or a highly colored or variegated yarn. These two little stitches really work well with all color types.
Gwen, the difference with the popcorn and the bobble is you make all of your stitches in the popcorn, then you pull up a loop, you take out your hook, you go back in the first stitch, and you go in the loop that you pulled up, and you pull it through the first stitch.
And it makes those little, like 5 double crochets just kind of cluster around one another.
That's the difference. That's a popcorn. The bobble is different. I hope that helps.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Now
the bobble stitch is just a double crochet cluster. You in one stitch you can put 4 or 5 double crochets together, and then you will single crochet into the next one.
Yep.
We talked about cluster stitches before, where like with the double crochet, you would start a double crochet, start another one, start another one, start another one, and depending on how many you're going to make in the cluster, then you'd pull them all through and it pulls it together, and then you'll make the bobble by connecting it to a single crochet in the next stitch. I'm sorry.
We're going to do a tutorial coming up that will demonstrate the popcorn, the bobble, and the puff.
Yes.
Will that help? I think that would really help you guys. Okay, go on to the next stitch. Herringbone half.
Yeah, I wanted to skip that one for just a few minutes, because for me, that's a little hard to
explain.
Yeah, explain. That's one of those you really got to show it.
All right, Gwen. Yay. That's wonderful. We'll do that next.
Mm-hmm.
Next slide.
So, as I said, depending on what, I'm not going to say what part of the country, but I'm just going to say, depending on the content creator, the writer, depending on just you yourself, I have only ever heard of the moss stitch. But once I started crocheting and started adding to my own little toolbox of stitches, I ran across the sand stitch. And I was like, after I, read through how to do it, I was like, well, that's the moss stitch. And then when I ran across the granite stitch and read how to do it, it's like, that's the moss stitch. So like I said, I have never researched why, and taking this one, for example, why we have 3 different names for the same stitch, but there it is. So just depending on how you were taught, but the moss stitch basically is just a single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next stitch, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, into the next stitch. So to me, it's kind of like a single crochet fillet. With a double crochet fillet, you have a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Some folks call that a window stitch, but Yeah, so like I said, for me, the moss stitch is wonderful. If you've got a lot of cotton and you want to make washcloths with it. And I tell you something, the other day I saw a beautiful little baby blanket that was made out of the moss stitch, and it was with the 6 weight, and it had some variegated color to it. And I thought, oh my goodness. Now, if I loved working with a thicker weight yarn, I probably would do that, but I'm not a 6 weight person. But it made up the cutest little blanket, and all they used was that moss stitch. So,
The moss stitch also has other names, also known as the linen stitch, seed stitch, and woven stitch.
see,
Yeah.
there you go. There
Yeah,
you go.
for me, yeah, for me, we've always called it the seed stitch, the linen stitch rather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One
Oh yeah.
little stitch, and look at all the names that it has. That's just super, super crazy. All right, the lemon peel stitch. Now, we've already described this one, as I told you earlier. It is more like the, oh, I in my notes, it jumped one. Okay, the blueberry stitch. This is just like making a mini. Yes, it does. It does make a nice dense fabric, Deidre. Hello, Vivian.
Hi,
I'm just
Vivian.
doing this. I'm going to have to watch the replay. Scully, oh my sweetie, how are you doing?
Hey, Scully.
See you here. Thank you so much.
Hey, Scully.
Yeah.
Scully.
Yes. I can't do that.
It's good to see you, Scully. Hey,
Yes.
Angela.
Hello, Angela. How are you doing? We have some folks popping in here. That's great.
Awesome.
We're just talking about
Stitches.
yes, some stitches that supposedly everyone should have in their little toolbox, but we're finding here that some folks are like, what?
Oh yeah.
Now, the blueberry stitch, many may know this as the mini bobble. But again, the bobble stitch is a mini bobble. A lot of times can be used with the single crochet, hence making it mini, but also it can be used just by doing 2 either single crochets clustered together or 2 half double crochets clustered together. You're not making it quite as large as your normal size bobble, hence it being named either the mini bobble or the blackberry stitch.
All right. And our next list is the back loop chevron, the lemon peel, the crochet spike, the bullion, the star, the shell, and the V double crochet, and the granule.
Now, they're hiding.
We are hiding.
Oh, we're hiding. Oh, I'm sorry. I was like, what? Okay, so a back loop chevron stitch. Now, I was taught to use a double crochet with making the chevron stitch. And by hopefully everyone understands that on your stitches, no matter whether it's a double, half double, whatever your basic stitch is, that the top of your stitch has a front loop and a back loop. The half double also has a third loop behind it. But when we're talking about using the back loop of a stitch, when you look at the top of your stitch, you're looking at that loop that's behind or away from you, the loop that's furthest away from you. So if you're doing a chevron stitch, which like I said, I was taught to use the double crochet, you would be working in the back loop of the top of the double crochets in your chevron. So I want to take just a moment to hope that you see that once you know your basic stitches, it's just the different ways in which we put them together to create another stitch. just like here on the chevron stitch, by working in the back loop of your stitch, you're giving it a little bit of a different dimension here. So the lemon peel stitch, I think we talked about a minute ago, was the griddle stitch. Your crochet spike stitch, you can, most of the time we will use the double crochet. I have seen in recent patterns some folks use their half double crochet, and basically all you're doing is you'd make like a double crochet in the first stitch, and the next stitch you're going to go down one row, pull up a very long stitch or loop, and finish out a double crochet, and then the next stitch would be another double crochet. So the spike stitch basically is just you working with 2 rows, the row that you are building on plus the row previously.
The bullion.
Yeah. Just a minute. Gotta go over here to my notes, because this is one I did not know. And I was like, what?
The shell stitch is similar to a clustered stitch in
Oh,
that
yes.
you have a number of usually double crochets. It could be treble crochets as well. And one stitch, you'll usually skip a couple of stitches, anchor it down in some way with usually a single, and then you'll skip a couple of stitches, and then you'll do your double crochets, and it looks kind of like a fan or a shell.
Right. Yes.
So that's the shell stitch. I just thought I'd fill it in while you were looking.
Thank you very much. Okay. So the bullion stitch is comprised of 2 double crochets in 1 double crochet in 2 stitches. And then you will wrap your hook, it looks like 6 times, and drop off 2. No, you drop off each individual loop, just like if you're learning Tunisian.
Yep.
So basically, I think what you do here is you just pull through all of those loops at the same time, and you have basically a cord that wraps around the post of your stitch, and then you tie it off with a slip stitch.
There you go.
I have never seen that stitch before.
We will do a tutorial on the bullion.
Oh, yes.
I'm making a list. I'm making a list.
So you've already covered then the
you
shell
need to do
stitch.
the star. Yeah, you need to do the star.
Oh, the star, folks. I love the star just as much as I love the spider stitch. It's not a very difficult stitch. You start with, when you're starting at the beginning of a row, you're going to chain 3, and then you just pull up a loop in the 2 chains going down and into the first 2 stitches afterwards. And then you just pull it all together, and you tie it off with a slip stitch, and then you work back into that slip stitch, and then you work down, and what it creates for you are little legs. Those loops that you pull up create the little legs of the star. Now, this star stitch is very it's easy to modify. You can give your star 3 prongs, you can give it 5 prongs, you can give it 7 prongs. It's always in an odd number. I've not seen it more than 7 prongs, but it just depends on the number of chains you have, the number of loops that you add, and how you tie it off that creates the little star pattern. And then it's after you get your first row started, it's just very, very easy to work right through it. Excuse me. Connie says, oh, yeah, now I know the star stitch. Just had a brain fart. Now, your V double crochet stitch, is really just about what it sounds like. It's a double crochet, chain one, and a double crochet all in the same stitch, which then hopefully that leads you to understand that you can do a treble crochet V-stitch by using the treble crochet, a chain one, and a treble crochet in the same stitch. And then you could you'll skip one or two stitches depending on the pattern writer, and then you would do that stitch again. And the V-stitch is really nice if you're wanting to make something that kind of gives you that, and I'm going to date myself here, that open chain or fishnet hose look. So it's really great whenever you're wanting to have some kind of a mesh look on whatever it is that you're building. You'll see this stitch used a lot in market bags. Once the bottom is established and then they go up the side, that they want it very open, then they will have you use this double crochet stitch. Now, the granule stitch is basically it's used with single crochets again and chains. I think we said that this is also the sand, the moss, the granite.
It is.
Linen. I think
I
that's
didn't
what.
remember.
Is that not what we heard?
I don't think it said granule.
Granule.
No.
I can't remember.
No, I said linen, sand.
Stitch that I know either.
No.
Oh. The granule stitch is created by using 2 double crochets clustered together.
No, the granule stitch in crochet is a pattern of alternating picot single crochets and regular single crochets.
That's what I got.
It requires multiple of 4 stitches to begin.
What did this bring me up
So,
to?
guide the single crochet picket stitch to the front of your work. Make a single crochet in the next stitch. Repeat across the row. Insert your hook in the next stitch. Yarn over, pull up 1 loop, chain 3. Yarn over and pull through both remaining loops on your hook. Single crochet in the next stitch. Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So there will be a tutorial on the granite stitch as well.
Okay. So I told you in the beginning, those of you that were here, up at the top of the page, we have the Twisted Fiber Friends Facebook page pinned for you. Number one, if you're not a member of the Twisted Fiber Friends Facebook group, we want you to go over there, and you just have to answer 1 or 2 little questions, like, make sure that you are polite, that kind of thing. We haven't turned anybody away that I know of. No. And once you have joined, what we would like for you to do is you can come back to this little slideshow. We will have it posted on the Facebook page for you to go back and look at. Oh, it's already there. Great. What we want you to do is we want you, each individual one of you, to give us a list of the stitches that you would like for us to make a tutorial on for you here on Twisted Fiber Friends. Now, obviously, it looks like the popcorn and the bobble and the
granule.
The granule, yes. It looks like that. See, yeah, Lana says, I don't have a stitch dictionary yet. And I know many of these are already out there, folks, on YouTube, and you can just go and click them up. But I don't know. Of course, I've never really gone out to look if there's a tutorial that just shows the difference between the bobble, the puff, the popcorn. How are they different, but yet how are they the same?
Yep. So we're going to do one.
Yes, we're going to do one with that. We can do one that shows you the various ways that you can make shell stitches, because, folks, there's more than one way to make a shell stitch.
Yep.
So we can make one whole tutorial where we've got different ways to show you how to make the shell stitch. And by showing you how they look in different yarn styles. Remember, when I say yarn styles, I'm talking about solid yarns, ombre yarns, heavily variegated yarns, so that you'll know which stitches to use, which ones, and which ones they're just not going to work very well. In fact,
And go ahead.
I was just going to say, in fact, the rule of thumb is the more complicated or detailed the stitches, the less variegation on the yarn you want to use.
Oh, you're very welcome, Vivian. Lana, you don't need the Stitch Dictionary at the moment. The PDF is in the Facebook group. So go take a look at it. It's the one I just showed. Go take a look at it and put right there in the Facebook group, make a post and list all the ones you want a tutorial on.
Yes, Mama Gwen. She says, do
You can-
some stitches have a count to
Yeah.
use? Yes, ma'am, they do. I wasn't going to get into that here because then we would be talking about how to set up the row and if it's a 1 or 2 or 3 row repeat in order to get the stitch that you're looking for. We just wanted to give you a basic idea of looking at these stitches and showing how, if you already know your basic stitches, you can do these other ones because they're all built off of your basic stitch patterns.
And you can list them by name or by number.
Yes, that will be fine too.
I've got that. So name or numbers, either one's fine. I've got that. It's good. So
awesome.
Any questions, guys? Because that was cool.
Good.
And I'm already listing out the tutorials.
That's great. That really is.
Track. So I will go in the next few days. Wednesday, I'll go in and make a list of the tutorials from y'all.
And we really want your input on this because, you know, we're all about not only just introducing to you to new fibers, giving you some patterns to try out on your own, but we also want to help you with expanding your little toolbox, your knowledge of the stitches, how they're built, how they can be used. So that's why we're called Twisted Fiber Friends.
Yes. So thank you guys.
Yes.
I appreciate it. And I love you guys. Y'all stay safe, be kind to one another, and hope you stop dating.
Bye, everyone.
I just want to say thank you all for being here. You know, we greatly appreciate your time every time we come up here together to visit with you. Please remember to be the light out there in the darkness for someone today, because you never know. Could be your light they're waiting to see. See you next Sunday over at Froggy's house. Bye.
Bye now.